The Labour Deputy Leader Harriet Harman was in Croydon today to promote the party's women's campaign ahead of May's general election. More than 1.1 million women in London did not vote at the last election, something the party wants to change. And they're using their pink campaign bus to promote this. Rhea El Salahi is there for us now. Rhea, tell us more.
Good afternoon. A pink, cerise or magenta coloured bus, depending on who you asked, was parked on this exact spot at the New Addington Community Centre here in Croydon just a moment ago. It's on the first launch of the London leg of Labour Party's women's campaigns tour, the first time the political parties held a dedicated campaign of this kind, all in the aim of reaching out to female voters ahead of the general election in May. Deputy Leader of the Labour Party, Harriet Harman, and MP for Hackney North and Stoke Newington, Diane Abbott, were both aboard that bus. And earlier we caught up with Harriet Harman to find out what brought her here.
Well, I think they're downright wrong. I mean, obviously there's a lot of men that don't vote, and it is worrying that there's a lack of confidence in democracy, but there are more women than men who don't vote. And this is our woman-to-woman campaign. We're out here listening, and you know, the things that are being talked about in terms of the cost of childcare and the difficulty of balancing home and work, those are things which are particularly of concern to women, because actually there is still a division of labour in the home, with women taking most responsibility for caring for children and also older relatives.
Harriet Harman MP there, responding to a group of protesters who turned up at today's event to show their disgust with what's happening. Now, talking of which, one of the protesters that was here and shouting at Harriet Harman as she arrived is Bobby Smith. He's from the new Justice for Fathers for Justice, rather. Bobby, what brought you here?
I've come here today to show Harriet Harman that this whole pink bus concept is just not acceptable. It's not right. It's creating like a divide between men and women, is what I see, and I just don't think it's right to segregate one member of society from anyone and try and turn them against another. This campaign is not inclusive of everyone. What's
wrong with reaching out to female voters in this way?
There's nothing wrong with it, but what's wrong with reaching out to male voters? I mean, 8 million men didn't vote, 9 million women. There's slightly more women in this country than men. It's just completely about women. It even says that on the side of the bus.
Do you accept that there will be different issues affecting voters that in some senses will affect men and women differently? I mean, childcare is a big issue, the pay inequality.
The pay inequality, I've never seen any evidence of any legit company, any legal company that pays women different based solely on their gender and not performance. So I don't know about. And as for childcare, the reason why women are mostly left with the childcare is because 97% of resident parents are women, and that's because men have absolutely no rights whatsoever in a family court.
I mentioned that you're from the campaign group New Fathers for Justice. How does that differ from the traditional Fathers for Justice group that we've heard of before?
They're a campaign group, they're a splinter group that started in 2008. I've been with them for about a year. I think the original Fathers for Justice have gone off track a bit with some MP. I don't really know much about them, but New Fathers for Justice are concentrated solely on reforming family courts, giving men equal rights. And we also campaign for women. I campaign with a lot of women all the time, so because it's not always just men and stuff.
You've been receiving quite a bit of wide attention the last few days because you did come up against Harriet Harman previously. What happened?
She came to Stevenage, so I tried to speak to her. Well, I spoke to her for a little while in Stevenage, and I was just saying to her how unsatisfied, how wrong I think this whole campaign is. I asked her how many men didn't vote in the election, and she didn't know, quite simply because she didn't bother to look into it, because she's just making it about women. 76% of male suicides are men. Is she going to be campaigning for 50-50 on that? No, I don't think so, because you're just making it about women.
Bobby, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bobby Smith there, he's from the campaign group New Fathers for Justice, one of the protesters who came to Croydon, to New Addington Community Centre, to demonstrate against Harriet Harman and the Labour MP's campaign to reach out to female voters.